He's not as cool as Henry.
No.
What did you say to me, Joe? I heard you. I'm the best Geralt there is. Okay, no.
debatable.
Henry is perfect. Okay, guys, hold on. Let me not get ahead of myself. It is time. Welcome to our Witcher review, The Witcher on Netflix. How dare it come out on December 20th,
Yeah.
same day as Rise of the Skywalker, and all the fallout from that disaster. And then Christmas hit, and my family, and then I watch it through Christmas, and we finally got it done. So strap in. It's going to be a longer episode if I don't break it into two parts. We'll just talk about all the individual episodes, our overall rating for the series, the monsters that we saw, and where we think Season 2 is going, because it has already been confirmed that we are going to get a Season 2 of The Witcher.
But we have to wait so long.
Oh, I know. I think it's something like 2021.
Yeah.
Guys, okay, so what did I think of The Witcher?
Surprise!
I fucking loved it. I know that it's not a big surprise that Joe, who loves The Witcher, gave The Witcher 3 a 10 out of 10, loves The Witcher Netflix series.
Never would have guessed.
Now, it's not without its flaws, okay? I'm going to be fair. I'm going to put on my critic's hat as well. Here's the problem with the Witcher series initially, as you're watching the first few episodes. It doesn't give a fuck about you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't give a fuck about you at all.
Yeah.
It's like, are you watching in on this story? Well, do your thing, because we're going to do our thing, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it throws so much lore and backstory and names and locations so quickly at you, with barely any explanation and barely any time to process. But yet at the same time, it's missing big holes in the geopolitics and where things are located and how things are happening, that there's simultaneously too much backstory and lore and simultaneously not enough backstory and lore in certain locations so that you can fit the puzzle pieces together.
Yeah.
Now, in the video game, you have many, many hours to fit these things together.
Yeah.
And you have time to stop your character and process. Here, it does not have time to stop. It keeps going. And so that's another problem, I think, with the series. Joe, you knowing about Witcher, you playing the games with me, and Alex, you also have played them on your own. Were you lost?
No.
At any time?
No, but I was able to fill in
Y'all
some...
weren't. Okay, these don't ignore. I was expecting them to say yes. These are pro level.
But it was difficult because it was one of those things where, like, there's a lot of times where you kind of passively watch a TV show and you're kind of sitting back. Mandalorian's an example where you kind of sit back and you don't have to think too much. But every now and then, like he mentioned, there are these throwaway lines that are not throwaway lines, that are really important, and you have to be looking out for them, because if you're not, you don't know when you are in the story, and that may not matter as much, but I kind of like to know, where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at one point, Dandelion, he's like, oh, I haven't seen you in like almost a year. I was like, okay, so a year has passed since the last episode.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's how we know,
You have to
when in the
pay
story is.
real close attention. But I kind of wish it was more than 8 episodes. That way we get more of the character.
Well, yeah,
development.
I definitely. That's a good thing though. Like, I'm glad that I want more out of the show, because I was really worried, because I do love The Witcher, and I was worried that they weren't going to live up to the expectation. And I think in a lot of ways they exceeded them, and they met them everywhere else.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about the things we liked and the things we didn't like. Okay? And then we'll talk about the individual characters. So try to keep it away from the characters so that we can have a
I
separate
love
section for
the
that.
scenery. Everything.
There you go.
It's beautiful.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's start with the things we liked. The scenery, amazing. The music. Okay, I like the music only because...
Yes,
what are you doing?
yes.
What
Toss
is
a coin
this?
to your
Give
witch.
it- Ow! What the hell are you throwing coins at me?
That's the
Freaking gesture. Which I wanted him to be called Dandelion, but that's just video game me. Obviously, this character... We started talking about the characters.
No
It's just
characters.
wonderful.
No
Okay,
characters.
fine. So,
Breaking
things
your
that I liked is, the music was done. It evokes the stuff from the video games. The Geralt, was done perfect. Didn't? Okay, hold on. That's characters.
Wait, no.
Oh, I'm getting into the characters right here. I'll tell you what. Let's just include characters with the
Okay.
things that we like. So here's how we're gonna do it. Let me back off from things that I liked and go into characters first.
Okay.
So let's talk about the main characters of the series. Before this thing came out, I was very worried, obviously, about how was I gonna buy whether this actress can pull off Yennefer. Was this actress going to pull off Ciri? There was a lot of controversy and stuff about their casting choices. Same thing with Triss Marigold. These are characters that are near and dear to me, that I know a certain way from the video games and then eventually from the books, and I wanted them to be done perfectly. Now, when I saw Geralt and Henry Cavill, I loved it. Other people were shitting on it. No, I thought it was great, and I liked the way
He's got it down to a T. Even that.
Yeah,
He's
his
great.
His
He's
grunts,
really
his
good.
sarcastic demeanor, his voice. Let's talk about Geralt. Geralt to
Yes,
me
let's.
is the best part of the series in terms of getting 10 out of 10 on his depiction.
Yeah.
Now, he's not exactly, your ideal character to be like, oh, he could carry the whole series, and he talks a lot, and you get to know him
He's
and
too
everything.
stoic for that,
He's
right?
very stoic. He's very set in his ways. But at the same time, he has the heart of gold. He's this basically proto-alpha weapon that can destroy everything, and is takes on monsters for the kingdoms. But yet at the same time, he has his Witcher code, which is his personal code that he doesn't give a fuck what happens. He's going to do what's right, and it doesn't matter the odds. And I love that. And you see that several times in the series. And Henry has the capability of not only looking like a soldier and just a complete badass, but also having those moments where of softness to him. And I think, it helps that, they saw those traits in Superman, that he was kind of the same way. But he's definitely a different character here. Geralt is much different from Superman in a lot of ways. But yeah, it does seem, though, that he's doing... I guess it's because I've played the video game hundreds of hours, but it does seem like he's doing an impression of our original Geralt from the video games. And that may be because he said he took inspiration from the video game version of Geralt. But even in the books, he's described much the same way, the grunting, the gruffness. So I thought Geralt was excellent as Geralt, or Henry was excellent as Geralt.
I agree. 10 out of 10 for his performance.
Yeah.
No, he didn't like it.
No, I love him. Just like you just.
What, you think I'm biased?
Yeah. Yeah, hands above the table when we're talking about
Maybe
Henry,
a
okay?
little bit, all right?
Yeah,
Maybe a little
he
bit.
absolutely killed it. I mean, he put in a lot of work learning the sword fighting. All of the fighting that he did was so believable and so well choreographed,
cool.
and I really
He
enjoyed
even
that.
used the Ard sign at one point.
Yeah.
And I wish that they had used more signs and more preparation, because that's the video game side of me, using the different toxins and potions and things, and the signs. He does a little bit,
There's a little
but
bit,
I hope
yeah.
to see that more in season 2.
Yeah, so I think he did a wonderful job. I think that if anyone's complaining about his performance,
I don't know.
I mean, you hated
They
the
just
show.
don't like Geralt as the character. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's just the way he is.
Exactly.
He's not exactly the most open man to walk up to, even though Jasper or what's his name in there?
Jaskier.
Jaskier.
Yeah.
It does so.
Yeah.
But come on, he's the bard. He worms his way into
But sometimes he
Geralt's
gets
heart.
punched in the gut for it. So
Well, this is another
I
thing
like.
that I like, that I'm saying, is I really, really like his character, the bard. I think Jaskier, he absolutely nails it. Now, I don't think all of his songs are good. I think Toss a Coin to Your Witcher is the best.
Yeah.
And then he just sings like what happens. I'm like,
yeah.
It's been stuck in my head, honestly.
yeah. But they meet on the road, and he finds a mutually beneficial relationship where he gets to tell interesting tales and sort of increase Geralt's renown, and they have this
He makes
symbiotic
more money,
relationship.
Yeah, there was only a couple times where the character was kind of used to drive plot, which seemed kind of unnecessary. And I know they're trying to keep with the way that the story worked, especially in The Last Wish. But there were some times where I think they felt they did the character a little dirty because they're like, we have to get this thing going, and I'm gonna, I don't want. Are we getting into spoilers?
Yeah. So this is a spoiler review.
So it's like, I'm gonna steal your two first wishes for
now.
this genie. It's like, really? This guy's gonna cut your face off. Like, you're not gonna steal your friend's first two wishes.
But that fits in his character. And there are times where he brings Geralt along, and it turns out to be these massive things like the court and the marriage. So his character is just fantastic. But getting to the character I was most worried about is Yennefer. I'm not sure how to talk about this because it's 2019. You're not supposed to talk about beauty.
Anything.
So what I'm saying is, in the books and in the video games, it's very, very important that Yennefer be absolutely ravishingly beautiful,
unrealistically attractive,
because that is a story point.
Yeah.
And I was initially worried that the actress wasn't up to that, and by the end, and after watching it, I love her. I love this actress.
She nailed it.
She freaking nailed it. And she does make that good transformation between this sort of hunchback and deformed Yennefer, who I guess they explain the deformations because of her blood is half elf, half human. And then she uses her magic to essentially turn herself into the most beautiful woman you've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's a give and take.
The transformation was great. I mean, that scene was horrifying.
Yeah,
disgusting. It was intercut with Geralt fighting a monster, which was a little annoying. I'd prefer the separate scenes, but it works thematically. And honestly, by the end of the series, I was like, "That is fucking Yennefer. You fucking nailed it. Good job. This could have been a big disaster."
Too.
Her personality. Her arc, it's such a satisfying arc. You understand her motivations. You understand where she comes from. This girl has literally been, outcasted, and then when she finds her awakening, and she's so beautiful, and every man wants to have sex with her, and when she goes on her sexual escapades, it even plays into her insecurities. She even conjures a whole crowd that's like watching them have sex, and it's very odd, but that plays into her insecurities and just building up her character, and she goes through quite possibly the most interesting arc, and Yennefer is a character that you had to nail, and they nailed it.
I think visually,
props to that.
I think visually they did. There's a lot of problems I think that they wrote for Yennefer that I didn't agree with. She ends up having these motivations. She says things that are just straight up not
Her
true.
legacy.
Yeah,
but that's what Yennefer does from time to time. What specific thing?
So she's like, I want a baby and I never had a choice. The guy literally says, if I do this, you're never gonna have kids. And she goes, cool.
Like, you had the choice.
You had the choice. You clearly said, and I was never given it. It's like, you were clearly given it. You regret the choice, and that's fine. And then there's a scene where she's like, oh, hold the baby, and she's looking at it like, oh, this thing's disgusting. Maybe that's before she realized that she really wanted one. But before she said, I want to have a child, I never ever would have guessed that she wanted to have a child.
Yeah, I will agree that whole child thing. But I think it has more to do with the choice was taken away from her, but then you were right. She made that choice.
Clearly given the choice.
All right, so a little bit of a character motivation there that didn't quite click. But like I said, by the end, Yennefer works out. Ciri. What do you think of Ciri?
I don't have a problem that the internet has with Ciri, and I think that the internet is trying to force Witcher 3 Ciri on us. She's supposed to be 12 years old.
Hold on. Yes, exactly.
She's supposed to be 12, and she's like 20-something.
She's supposed to be young. She's supposed to be inexperienced. She's supposed to be a little annoying, a little bratty.
She's supposed to be 12 years old, and she's like an orphan, and she's scared, and it makes sense. Like, I don't have a problem. It's like, yes, maybe next season she'll have the smoky eyes and the short hair, and she'll beat everybody up. Cool, but like right now, it's not age appropriate for a 12-year-old.
One of the best scenes in which
stop rushing everything.
Yes,
let's give somebody some time.
To develop.
So
I think that they can do it. After handling Yennefer's transformation and her arc throughout this season, I'm confident for Ciri's arc. She's going to look different. She's going to turn into the badass that we've seen her in Witcher 3.
Yeah, she's discovering her powers right now and everything.
Right.
So.
We're getting little hints of her powers here. And, she can be annoying. And, she didn't have a lot to do. I think in terms of character arc, Ciri was the weakest.
There was a lot of scenes, like, over several episodes that were useless.
She was just...
You're in the forest, but why?
That forest shit was pointless.
Because she's supposed to meet Geralt there in the stories, right? You've read them,
yes,
right? She's supposed to, but they didn't, and so the whole you're there for no reason.
I haven't read all the stories, Alex. Okay. There's like 8 or 9 books. We'll talk about that in a bit. But okay, so we think that Ciri is probably the weakest of the arcs here, but she's not supposed to be the badass. And in terms of the actress, I think that she nails that innocent look of Ciri early on. Yeah. And I'm sure that they're going to turn her into, a badass as we continue go on.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense though. Like we're getting the greatest hits of Yennefer from her past, and then her present, and same thing with Geralt. And Ciri, we only have the present, right? So we don't get anything else. And so it's like we're dealing with just current timeline stuff. Not everything. It would be unbelievable if she has the same depth of an arc because it all takes place in a week.
But that happens because they were trying to do multiple timelines, and they were trying to force Ciri's story earlier. And so what that does is it extends her time of her doing nothing, and it makes it seem like she should be doing something. Let's go. Yeah. But no, it's because they brought her story a little closer and sooner. Okay, the other one, the one that I thought was going to be a disaster and did turn out to be a disaster.
That's the only one.
It's the only one that I did not like.
It matters so
Marigold.
Little, though. Yes, I agree with you 100%. She was so miscast. Yeah. But ultimately, did she really do anything in this season?
Well, here's the thing. She's not a big of a factor. I mean, she is,
in this
but not
season.
Quite in the books. What I'm saying is the games kind of gave her a lot more, and the games really glorified her. And then, she's not yet a factor here. Maybe she will be in the future, but I just was not convinced by the actress, by her portrayal, I just thought she was done
when she came on screen, like, I'm Trish. I was like, no, you're not.
Yeah. No, she reminded me a little.
Maybe she can, when she's given more time, maybe she could convince
You're not my Triss.
Yeah.
You look like the cousin from Arrested Development.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
sorry.
she does.
But Triss is supposed to be, again, it's the thing of the beauty. She's just not quite up to that job, if I can make that criticism without Me Too coming after me. Okay, so anyways.
That was my weakest one.
Yeah. So you got those, but the 3 ones are done correctly, and that's what makes this series strong. Those are the ones that needed to be done correctly, and they were. I will say a lot of the supporting characters were done really good, too. The head mistress of the academy,
the rectoress.
I forget her name. Triss. No, not Triss.
The rectoress.
It's something like that.
Yeah, Tissia or something like that.
Tissia, she was done really, really well. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they're sort of like the characters. So the characters were done pretty well. The only thing that hurts it a little bit is that timeline and being a little confused, but everybody puts together a fantastic performance for the most part on their characters. So let's just go into the different episodes. So we have 8 episodes, just like The Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. And the episode, but here they're full-length episodes,
hour-long each.
Yes,
and we get ample time. I fucking love it. So that makes this series double the length of The Mandalorian, even though they have the same amount of episodes. So I really appreciate that. That's not a criticism. So just so that you know, let me first quickly give you a little lesson in the books, okay? So if you want to know the Witcher books, at least in the order that you should read them, I'll share that with you now. So, number 1, The Last Wish, and that's sort of a short story collection. That's the one you should start with. Number 2, The Sword of Destiny. It's another short story collection. Number 3, The Blood of Elves. This is the sort of the beginning of the novels. Then you want to go to Time of Contempt. Then Baptism of Fire, then The Tower of Swallows, then The Lady of the Lake, which is where we start to get Witcher 3 stuff. And then there's a recent one that just came out, Season of Storms. That's in 2018. So those are the orders of the novels. Now, you want to know how that relates to the episodes? Well, I'll tell you now. So the episode breakdown is The End's Beginning, which is episode 1, was based on The Last Wish, a little short story called The Lesser Evil. 4 Marks, the episode 2, is also The Last Wish. Betrayer Moon, episode 3, The Last Wish. 4, The Last Wish. 5, The Last Wish. 6, Sword of Destiny. 7, Sword of Destiny. And 8, Sword of Destiny. So what we're getting is we're basically getting some of the short stories from The Last Wish and a bunch of short stories from The Sword of Destiny. So that just shows you how much material we've got left. There's plenty of material in Blood of Elves, Time of Contempt, Baptism of Fire, Tower, Lady of the Lake, and where we're going next. So don't necessarily think that season 2 is going to be Witcher 3 time or stuff that we've never seen before, because there's lots of material to go through. And it also depends on if they do the time bullshit. I don't want them to do no more time bullshit.
It's like, look,
the timelines have converged, right?
Yeah.
Without
we're
getting
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we should be okay.
We should be okay, and that should
flashback-
make it more coherent, and it
We'll
will
be
make
fine
the
with
series
that.
a lot better moving forward.
Yeah.
So let's do the episode breakdown now. So the episode 1,
Best
Renfrey.
Witcher is Renfrey? What are you talking about?
That girl. Right?
Oh, right, yeah. But first, he battles the Kikimora, which is this badass fucking spider thing.
That's another thing we forgot to mention. The
What?
thing I like was the monsters. The monsters in it.
The monsters are really good. A lot of people say that, oh, there's not enough monsters in the series. It's more about, the politics. And I'm like, no, there's plenty of fucking monsters.
Well,
Because I counted them, and I'm going to share the number of monsters with you now. It is 10. I counted 10 freaking monsters.
Well, who gives a shit if they don't think there's enough monsters? There can be like the whole game is not just about him killing monsters. There's an entire continent of like moving about through, and there's different difficulties between the two. It's like there can be multiple things.
Yeah, I'll name the monsters for you. It's Kikimora, the Striga, the Hirika, the Sylvan, the Golden Dragon, the Djinn, the Doppler, that assassin monster's pet, I think that's unnamed.
Yeah.
The undead, which I'm not sure if they were supposed to be,
they ghouls?
foglets or drowners.
Yeah.
No, I think they're just straight up undead ghouls. And then there's the mind controller earworms. So there were plenty of monsters, probably more than I'm forgetting. But I thought
hedgehog.
that they were. Yeah, you can count. You can count that.
He's
you can
not
count
a
Dunny.
monster.
But exactly. but they were woven into the story expertly, just like they were in the book. So I don't think that was an issue. So, anyways, episode 1, we deal with how Geralt was being called the Butcher of Blaviken, and that is a story of Renfrey versus Stregobor. And this was a fascinating short story, fascinating story, and I thought it was well done here, well executed. What did you think?
I thought it was really damn good. I think the fight scene
Other than
here-
being confused.
Yeah,
Because
so-
here's where you get a lot of expedition dumps and names and characters. When you meet Stregobor, you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, so I actually had some issue with how the story was told, and then my buddy Dave let me look at what the story said, and it was like, okay, they were actually really faithful.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to know. It's like is she isn't she a daughter of Lilith type thing. And so I thought they did a pretty damn good job, and that fight scene was incredible.
Incredible.
It was. My one problem with that fight scene is it was so damn good that nothing else in the season lived up to it.
Right. Yeah, he did.
Maybe
No,
late.
there was once or twice when he escaped from Sintra prison, and he did some badass stuff there.
But that scene was just so far.
I know.
This
They need to
was
do
a
more of that.
Great episode. I really enjoyed it. I was like, this is how you kick off the series.
Yeah.
Bam,
Yeah.
let's
Even
get this
Nilfgaard
going.
starts attacking Central. You're like, what the fuck is going
I
on?
hate
Where
that
Dritch
armor.
is going right in.
Every
hate
time I
that
saw it,
armor
I was
so
like,
much.
well,
Okay, we got to talk about the armor. What a huge, colossal disaster the armor turned out to be. I mean, we've seen it now, so we can fully comment. I cannot believe it looks exactly like a motherfucking scrotum with a dickhead. They're all fucking dickheads.
They
now,
are.
at this point, I'm
Assholes.
wondering if the costume designer, which I want to name them, I want to put blame where blame is supposed to go, but obviously, the girl in charge is supposed to sign off on all this stuff. Say, no, this is not good because, or maybe they were trying to say these guys are dickheads. Maybe they were literally these guys are walking, talking
they.
ball sacks with dicks.
I'll allow it. I'll
Really?
allow it.
I have a
I
pretty
will
good
not-
idea how to recreate that armor, though. I can make you guys.
I will
No,
not
no.
allow. I don't want to. What are you gonna fold up aluminum foil and
No,
spray
it's
painted
pleather.
black.
It'll be pleather.
No.
The nice thing is when it gets cold,
never
it
want to
tightens up
see that
around you.
armor again. What a huge colossal! It makes the entire Nilfgaardian army not intimidating, hilarious. Every time they're on screen, I'm laughing. And that was a huge colossal disaster. I'm sorry. It was so bad that you get a -1 from me. A whole point on costume design. Costume design, set dressing, locations, all this shit is important.
Yeah.
And to make a huge error like that, a creative decision that makes me laugh every time Nilfgaard's on screen, that's bad. And I thought, well, maybe, and I remember I begged the showrunner on Twitter to change it when we got into a little Twitter spat.
It's like, nope.
There's no way to fucking change it.
No.
I'm looking at it now. She can't go. Season 2 will make the armor look better. No, then that makes like, what the fuck was the season 1 armor?
Yeah.
Maybe they can say, oh, we got better technology now, and they can. No, you fucked the armor for the whole thing. All right. Anyways, so they fight. The queen dies. What did you think of the queen?
I think that she's such a cool character.
Calanth.
But they did such a terrible job showing me that she was this you don't learn until later on, because she's supposed to be much older at this scene, and then we see her younger, and they don't.
They keep calling her grandmother. I'm like, that ain't no grandma.
Well, what are you talking about? Like, she's a good-looking young woman right now.
Yeah,
But
but
that's a grandmother.
it fits with the story. I think she is so fucking badass.
Yeah, the character's
in the books.
amazing.
The character's in the games, and
I didn't
here
want it to die.
it's hard to live up to that. But I think this actress did a good job.
Yeah.
I think she lives up to it. She's got enough of the badassery, the arrogance. You're not necessarily supposed to love her, and she has fucking flaws that piss you off. Basically, goddamn stubbornness, which pretty much leads to the downfall of her kingdom. It's implied that because she didn't accept destiny, and she scoffed at the law of surprise, that when time came and Nilfgaard was attacking Sintra, her kingdom, that destiny turned their back on her and didn't help her defend her kingdom, because she imprisoned Geralt and did all this other bullshit. Anyway, falls to her death, suicide, and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? And that happens later again in episode 7.
Yeah,
when
she's
the
supposed to be
timelines
much
converge.
older, right? Like at least 15 years older.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just the actress. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
I
think
don't
so.
know what I guess they could.
They turned a guy into a hedgehog.
Yeah.
They can make her look like an old woman.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that wasn't all that important to me. I just maybe her battle prowess has kept her young
It is
all these
important
years.
though when you're
She
jumping
works
through
out.
time.
Yes,
if you're
I know.
jumping
I
through
agree.
time and she looks old, you're like, cool, she's old her.
Okay, so it starts off great. Episode 1, the end's beginning, starts off with a lot of action, but the problem is that you're lost. Then we move on to 4 marks. This is where the series slows down a little bit, and we get to Yennefer. We get to her backstory, her tragic backstory. She's sold essentially for 4 marks. It sucks, man.
The pig's going for 10. Come on.
She goes off to Aretuza for her training in the academy. She forms that friendship with Istred. You know, it's revealed that she's part elf. Tissia, if I'm saying her name right, Tissia, I get her name wrong every time. And Stregobor, you know, are revealed to using these two, spying on each other, sort of the Brotherhood and the Mages Academy. And but this scene had a really like what the fuck moment where, you know, she's in the academy, and I thought this was played perfectly. It looks like she doesn't have what it takes to be a mage. But later it's revealed that some of her peers didn't have what it takes, and she's the one. She has what it takes. And there's a scene where she's peeking in because all these mages are being selected, but not her. She's like, wait for the knock at the door. And she hears people knocking, goes right past her. And then she is peeking in, and the headmistress turns them all into eels and shoves them into the pool. I don't remember this from the games, or I don't even know if it was in the books, but I was like, oh shit, that's some fucked up shit. Because I thought the academy was supposed to be like super, super good, you know, but here I think they do a good job of showing the academy as morally questionable at times.
Well, self-serving, right?
Self-serving, trying to get they don't care what it takes, they will continue to go on. So these eels essentially power them magically.
Yeah, because that's what the whole thing was. It's a give and take. It's like you use your power, and then something dies, or vice versa, whatever. So
the girls that didn't make it act as batteries, and I thought that was really
that was
fascinating,
cool.
and that's what helps this episode give it some deepen in the intrigue. And we also get Geralt sort of hired to investigate thieves on Posada. That's when Jaskier joins him for his adventure, and then they go off on this little adventure, and they run into who?
The Elven King.
Yeah, the Elven King. Philva Vandrel, and then Ciri finds. What's that?
Said I'll butcher the name. So.
I'm butchering the names too. But that one that went by really quick. I wish we could have seen more of the elves and how they factor in, but I guess budgetary constraints or whatever. They're in like a fucking cave instead of like in trees and shit. I would have liked to have seen like a bunch of stuff.
Out, so.
Well, this is an important part of like the political intrigue thing that I wish we got more of. They really focus on some of the other stuff, but this is kind of important that there's an entire race on the continent that's being starved to death and exterminated for the most part.
And they couldn't really be in the trees because they're pushed into the mountains.
Yeah, they're in the mountains. There's no way to grow crops there.
Right.
That's why they've got to steal. And
so we might get more of this in season 2, obviously, as the elves have been pushed to the side. But it does deepen Geralt as a character because it reveals him not necessarily just some heartless mercenary. He realizes that they need food. And I think that the Elven King is sort of convinced that, they make a case for Geralt. And this is definitely coming into play later on.
Yeah, because, he says something really important here where he says, well, you humans, he's like, I'm not human. I'm hated by them too.
Right.
And it shows that he's like separated himself from humanity. And I think they kind of bond over the fact that, you look human, but they don't consider you one of them.
Yeah, and we get a little...
Yeah, I think he tells them too. He's like, grab your people and move somewhere else and get stronger. So they are going to play into.
They'll probably eventually go to where I said. So we get a little bit more of Ciri, and then Ciri is introduced to this character, and I guess I must have forgot about this, Dara, which is the elf character. And what did you think about Dara's character? This is a brand, new to me. It's been so long, and I don't think... this was in the games.
It's just insert like you have a lost little princess in the snow.
Really
that's like you're gonna die. So
I guess what it is exactly.
You need a guide.
You need a guy. They get a guide. It's revealed that he's an elf,
Yeah.
and so it just is used as a character growth for her.
Yeah, and then kind of explain later on his backstory is important. It's like your grandmother's responsible for the massacre of my people,
right?
And so it kind of like lets her become more worldly as she learns more about that her family's not always.
That's what it is. It deepening Ciri's character, giving her a little bit of that understanding and how to be a better ruler if she is to be eventually a ruler of some kind of princess, which is going to factor into her story later, which we find out. Actually, we don't find out this season. We're going to probably find that out next season. Then we move on to Betrayer Moon. This one, I think. This was a good episode because Yennefer and Istred, they're kind of revealed to be lovers, and they fall in love, and they're that's when we get the sex.
The weird scene.
The weird scene. People clapping as
like, wait, what's
going
on?
She created her own crowd for this, and then, but we don't know if they're like truly intimate because they're supposed to be spying on each other. So we don't know if they do feel for each other, if they don't, or
well, Yennefer transforms into a beautiful woman. We get some mage stuff where they want to assign her to Nilfgaard, and we know that from Witcher 3 when she shows up with the Nilfgaardians. But no, because she charms her way to Adrian, because she wants to go to a different kingdom, which is a more badass kingdom or whatever.
She wants to go where she's from.
Right, but then she charms her way there, so she gets what she wants, sort of. At the same time, Geralt is helping Temeria with the monster, and I know this kingdom very well from the video games and stuff. And that's when we first meet Triss Merigold. So Triss Merigold sort of helps Geralt, and sort of tapers the king and stuff. And so we get this great battle scene with Geralt and the Striga. What did you think about the Striga?
Loved it.
Was that okay? Hold on. There was a Witcher that was at the beginning of the series, right? And it's showing
beginning of the third one.
Beginning of that one, and he gets killed.
Yeah.
But he didn't have white hair. And then later on, weren't they talking about fake Witchers or something like that? Or was I completely off the mark on this?
They were just mad because it's like, oh, he just took the coin.
He took the money and left.
So there was another Witcher.
Yeah,
and he's like, well, not all Witchers are the same.
Yeah.
But anyway, that guy got fucked over.
Oh, yeah.
So the Striga, is revealed to be born from the curse. And these are great fucking stories from the books. And so, you can't help but like it. I don't know. I gotta ask. I guess I gotta ask my grown family members.
They went really.
They
went really fast when they're trying to
It's
explain
hard,
what it is. And so,
see, I have all this extra context, and maybe that colors how wonderfully I think things are executed.
Yeah.
So take my rating and maybe subtract 1 or 2 from it. Okay. So we get it's revealed to be incest between Foltest, the king, who I don't really like the Foltest, this king, the actor, and the way he's portrayed here. Maybe we'll get more of their friendship with Geralt and the respect for each other in the future. But I don't know. It's just.
Yeah, I mean, he was put in a weird situation. Like, I didn't mind it as much. I mean, if you think about the character's situation where they're going to find out about the incest with his sister, it makes sense he'd act weird. Later on, he kind of redeems himself because he does show up to reinforce the North.
So it's revealed that it was a curse, because he was having sex with his deceased sister, and this turns into this is Princess Ada, and Geralt helps lift this curse, and so he basically helps the kingdom of Temeria. So they're sort of indebted to him, and they like him, and they realize, and so that comes into play later on when he comes to help. Even though he's going to help anyway, because this is a big invading force. But this is where Ciri enters the forest, and I'm like, I don't understand this forest with the dryads.
Back to the other thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the king, he didn't really like Geralt, right? Because he's like, here's a present for her, and at the end he gives it back to him. It's like, what was that about?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that part.
gives the thing back
right,
to her.
Like, yeah, this is for her.
Mm-hmm.
It belonged to another princess,
like,
yeah.
nope.
Yeah. So, but did you guys like that episode and the way it worked out?
I mean, the fight was kind of cool. It was at the same time as the Yennefer transformation, which was a brutal scene.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it was a pretty good episode.
Okay,
much better than the next one.
We move on. Yeah, here's where it gets a little weak. The Banquet, Bastards, and Burials. This is based on a question of price, and this is also from The Last Wish. So Yennefer is her escort. She's escorting the queen of her kingdom. They get ambushed. Assassin shows up with the spider thing, and they're like, who would attack us? And it turns out to be the king is fucking attacking his own wife because all she does is give him daughters, and he's sick of it. And it's like, and then Yennefer is just sick of the court and bullshit like this.
That's it. I'm out.
Especially when the baby fucking dies, it's revealed that this queen would give up her baby to try to fucking
save her own life.
I'm like, you piece of shit, and I'm glad Yennefer's like, peace out.
Yeah. Apparently Yennefer has no idea what an offensive spell is. All she knows how to do is like do portals.
This was a little questionable.
This is another one of the criticisms I have is there's like this really inconsistent use of magic where sometimes these mages are crazy powerful.
Yeah.
It's the story and limited by the way it was written, but yeah, I hated that part. It's like, just fucking attack him,
do something. A cockroach with blade hands is killing you, okay? It reminds me of Meek from Thor Ragnarok. Yeah. And it's just like it's got the two it's like do something. Just like
but this is the cataclysm, or this is the event that slingshots are into just forget all this shit. Fuck the academy. Fuck this. Fuck the court. I want
a baby now.
Yeah.
I want to do what I want to do. Well, it's traumatic, Alex. So did you see the fucking baby? I was like, please let that baby live. But breathe. Do something. Use your magic. No, that baby's fucking dead. I'm like, damn, they showed a dead baby up in there. And then
she didn't care that much. She buried it like 4 inches deep on the beach.
Alex, shut up. That's they're not going to watch a whole episode of her digging a goddamn deep grave. Anyways, Geralt goes to the feast. And this is where we get quite possibly one of the most important events in all of Witcher lore.
He's hired as a bodyguard.
He's hired as a bodyguard. Well, it's really Jaskier who was going over there. But anyway, there's a knight by the name of the Urchin of Erelenwald, Dunny, and it claims. Okay, so here's what happens. She's trying to marry off her daughter. There's a lot of different kingdoms that come. There's a favorite guy who's kind of a fucking
the Nilfgaardian
bro
guy.
dick, and then there's Nilfgaardians, which, by the way, they make fun of the Nilfgaardians. They're like, and the dude's like, the fuck.
Well, she was absolutely right. She's like, you're just gonna be like overthrown in a couple years. He was overthrown in a couple years.
Yeah, that's true. And it's so cool being a book reader and a game player because you know the interplay here. Now this is a spoiler review, so but I'll save it a little bit for the end. Is that so? Eventually, a knight comes to the center. He like barges his way through, and you're like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" He's like, "No, I claim the law of surprise. I want her hand in marriage." And surprisingly, the daughter of the queen is like, "Yes, I'll take it." And the queen's like, "No, absolutely not. I refuse because it's revealed that he is a hedgehog man."
Yeah.
He's a Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, it's because he's been cursed.
Yeah.
And the queen is so pissed off. She's like, attack him. And so he's fucking fighting. He's doing a really good job. And then Geralt jumps to his defense because that's Geralt's moral code.
Which kill him. He's a monster. He's like, no, he's not a monster.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't kill sentient things.
Yeah.
I know monsters. And so he defends him. Obviously, this gets Dunny on his side. Dunny is real, thanks him. And it did the big old 180 on the queen's attitude from fucking hating him to being like, okay, I bless this marriage. And by the way, I'm going to fuck this guy. And I want him to be my husband.
She needed the ally. She needed an ally.
Skellige.
And he liked her.
And his ships. Yeah, and I liked it. I'm just saying. It was a really quick turn. We will now have a marriage between these two because as they're fighting and she's about to kill him, the daughter's like, no! And she creates this big magical portal that, has a bunch of
tornado.
And they spin in the air for 5 minutes.
Shut up! It's like a fairy tale. Y'all hated this, but I liked it.
It was too goddamn long. There's so much shit that they are not explaining, and then we're going to spin in the air for 5 minutes?
Okay, well, it wasn't 5 minutes.
Watch it again.
Okay, so anyways, and then so she realizes that she's wrong, and she blesses this marriage, and then the guy's like, Dunny's like, thank you for helping me. I need to give you a reward. And Geralt's like, whatever, I don't care. And he's like, I got nothing, but I get the law of surprise. And
why would he say that if he just saw it happen?
Because we wouldn't have a series otherwise.
No, Joe, it makes sense. I wish that the series didn't do the time thing because the law of surprise for just a normal viewer, my family was like, that's stupid. I'm like, it's not stupid.
I saved the king's life right before he died. You did what?
Well, they didn't like the name, the law of surprise, and they thought it was a stupid tradition. But the way it's set up in the books is better because you get a hint of it, and then you get used to it, and then boom, it's revealed here.
Yeah,
but we can't.
it's like
boom, it's revealed, and then later on you have to. Okay, so anyway,
you shouldn't factor in like your experience with other.
Okay,
media
you're right. No, I should. This is based on a goddamn book. Okay, if
it was required reading before watching this, then sure, but it is not.
Okay, well, I'm just saying that the law of surprise feels a little stupid here.
It is super stupid,
and they even have to have mouse sack. Like, no, the law of surprise is the law of the lamb. It's a destiny, and to try to prove that this is what they should be doing.
Yes.
And so she's like, all right. And then she's like, no, what have you done? Because it's like. The law of surprise is supposed to be like you're supposed to give something you didn't know you had.
Yeah.
And he didn't know that she's already pregnant with his child.
Well, she had to barf. Yeah, because her barfing after spinning in the air for 5 minutes, it's like, oh,
she's pregnant.
You got to be pregnant. It's like she could be dizzy. She's just spinning in a tornado for 5 minutes.
It's a little funny. And so
he says
he's basically fuck.
He's really good. Yeah, he's
that sarcastic stuff and the cursing. And he curses a lot in this. He curses like a sailor, which is Geralt. Yeah. So anyways, the child is forever tied to him. And I thought it was a great episode. This is the one you didn't like?
It is by far the worst of all.
It was the weakest.
Okay. All right. Well, I disagree. Anyway, Bottle Appetites. I like fairy tales and shit like that.
But is there an episode that's worse than that you can think of? Or is it the worst of the 8? Because I think all of the other ones are stronger than that one.
I think maybe...
We can come
I don't know. Okay, rare species. Okay, but anyway, Bottle Appetites, Geralt and Jaskier discover a djinn. Just so happened to find a djinn.
This is another one of those issues where it's like
the most powerful fucking creature in this universe.
And that's another one when I was talking about earlier. He's like, oh, I haven't seen you in 6 or maybe a year. I was like, so how long has it been?
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And if Geralt didn't look at the camera and go, I don't sleep good anymore, we wouldn't know why he's digging up a genie. So it's like, I felt like I'd missed an episode. It's like, was there something else? Like, why is he not sleeping?
Maybe it's this one that I didn't like.
I
liked them all.
This one they get together. I think this one's really important to the story.
Yeah, it's important to the story, but was it depicted in the coolest way? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Geralt, I'm sorry. So they curse Jaskier. Geralt gets help from a mage who turns out to be Yennefer. So they come together again, and she's like, or no, this is like when it turns out to be Yennefer. They meet. She basically uses the djinn to get a wish for her, because at the same time she's helping them, she's thinking about herself. And she's like, I could use this opportunity.
Yeah, once you're completely done using up the djinn, I'm going to be its vessel, and then I can use its power
to be fertile again. And she, at this point, she wants the baby after the dead baby she saw. And then, so Geralt uses, it's actually revealed that it's Geralt who is the master of the djinn and has the wishes. So Geralt uses his third wish. You don't actually see what he says, or you can't hear what he says. He uses a third wish to save Yennefer, because the djinn is going to fuck everything up and kill her. And she doesn't know what she's doing. You know, she went a step too far. Yeah. She's being reckless. And he ties their destinies together. Saves her. They have sex. Amazing sex. Doppler. And then we go to a different storyline. The Doppler kills Mousak, takes his face, and he goes, goes into the forest. To get Ciri out of there, because they don't want to have to confront these people.
Yeah, that forest, because we have to drive that plot.
So
everyone has to drink something except for this guy.
And the djinn goes up into the sky and does the cool thing. And
I still think that they did Dandelion a little dirty here. If Geralt,
Jaskier,
if he's one of your best friends and he's made you rich and he's get 3 wishes and you steal the first 2 because you're a dickhead, Geralt should just kill him.
Okay, so you like this episode better than the last?
Yes.
Okay. Rare Species is the next one. Geralt, Jaskier, and Yennefer join a dragon hunt. You got the band of dwarves, so this was fun for video games.
I really like
fucking love Yarpin.
Yarpin is super
sweet. He's great in this. Nah, he doesn't really get much to do in terms of fighting and shit.
He curses a lot, and it's fun.
We love him.
Give me a bear.
We're also introduced to Thea, Vea, and Borch. If I said that right, Borch, and then it's revealed that this old dude Borch is the actual golden dragon. It's funny because they set it up earlier. They're like, there is no golden dragon. He's like, no, there's a golden dragon. What? No. Yeah. And he's the golden dragon. And so they revealed they're defending these eggs because there's other groups that were there, including like these reavers who are fuckers.
Yeah.
And then so basically there's good character moments in this. Geralt sort of reveals his wish to Yennefer that now their destinies are sort of tied.
But we didn't reveal the wish, right? He just kind of says he wish, because the problem I had with this episode was at the end the gold dragon guy just screws everything up for no reason. He's just like, oh, I'm gonna be a dick. He doesn't really love you. It's just a wish thing, and then you're gonna be mad and you're gonna lose each other anyway.
I was like, what the fuck?
Thanks for saving my baby. It's like, man, you're a dickhead.
You're a fucking dick. But they're supposed to put in this question, because that question is in the lore of, do they really love each other, or is it a wish? From the wish?
Now the golden dragon said it, so it must be true. It's over.
Right. So,
damn you, dragon.
It was a little.
He
weird.
did look like a Sharknado version of a dragon too. Like that CG, you can tell that they had a little bit lower budget.
Hey, this CG was bad, but it wasn't as bad as I think it was like the 2000s Polish TV series that I've made fun of before. That dragon looks so bad. And I want to show what y'all guys what it looks like. Y'all can see it here. It's really, really bad. So at least this was done better than what we've seen it done previously. But anyway, you threw me off track.
This was another good one because we get a kind of a glimpse in on how Geralt's actually just a good person. They run across they run across a monster. There's no reason to kill it. It's probably just hungry. And we have this asshole knight that chops it up into little pieces.
Right. These things are even more rare than dragons, he says. And this fucking idiot.
And he's probably starving. All we have to do is feed it and it'll go away. And it really did crush me when he killed it. And I loved that he died while shitting. Yeah. It made me so happy that this guy got gutted.
Yeah.
Because fuck him.
Yeah, fuck that.
He's trying to use
noble knight, and he's like the trophy kind of knight, and he's doing all this.
And he's just killing defenseless creatures
Witcher's
for no reason.
You piece of shit.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Ciri's asking a bunch of questions, and then Doppler's like, fucking, and then he reveals himself.
This scene was super weak too because the Doppler's supposed to know literally everything that Mouse Sack knows. And he's like, "Oh, you did this," and he's just like, "Well, I don't know." It's like, no, he do. You said you told me not too long ago that you know everything.
They fucked that up. Dara helps Ciri escapes, but he says, "I'm leaving. Fuck you. Fuck this."
All you bring is number trouble. I would leave too.
And so he left. And now we get into the last 2 episodes, which by now everything is clicking into place. I love the episodic nature of the series. See, man, my review right now is all over the place, guys. But I wanted to say that I love that this is an episodic nature with there is an arc. It's just kind of in the background.
It's like a review. It gets all over the place.
Yeah. And then it shows up here at the end. So 7 and 8 are really awesome. So 7 is before a fall. Geralt decides to come back and evoke the law of surprise because they notice that Nilfgaard is invading. And he's like, fuck, I need to protect. And so the queen offers up basically a fake Ciri. But Geralt sees right through this, right? And
well,
he's like,
sort of.
Kind of.
There's a very convenient scene
I gotta
where
go see my friends.
Where he looks,
like, bye,
goodbye, Your Highness.
Yeah, and he's like,
just so happen to be there.
Yeah. But he probably would have found out eventually. But anyway, but Geralt finds this out. They imprison him. They lock him in. And at the same time, Yennefer is going to Artusa with Vilgefortz. And he's trying to rally the mages to oppose Nilfgaard. And they talk about, like, the kings are going to lose faith in us. I mean, this kingdom's under attack. We're so powerful. Why don't we do anything to help? And some mages are like, no, fuck Sintra, because they never take our mages and fuck them. And, but then but certain mages want to help and fight. I'm like, please don't let them to be like, no, I don't want to help. If you don't know anything about, Witcher, they were like, oh, the witches are going to help, or the mage is going to help, and we're going to get a badass fight. I'm like, shh, just watch. It was and eventually, Tissia and Vil and the other mages resolve to fight. So that's when Nilfgaard invades. The queen dies, sends Ciri away to find Geralt. And because, like I said before, Destiny kind of refuses to defend her for her stubbornness before. And then Ciri runs into her friends that she saw earlier, but they attack her. And she realizes, she can't trust anybody, and, shit is fucking falling apart. Yeah. But then her powers go off, and all those fucking people are dead.
Even the horsey.
Yeah, poor horse.
He didn't do nothing, but you know what?
Wrong place, wrong time, horsey.
She can't fucking, do that.
Yeah, the queen and king in this episode did like a wild 180 where before the king, it's the guy from Skellige, where they're like, oh no, the law of surprise is super important. And this one, he's like, fuck the law of surprise. Right. Jail for you.
So a little weakness in the character motivations here, and then Queen Calanth is like, yeah, you go find Geralt. But it's because she realized she realized mistake, she was on her deathbed. So that makes sense. Anyway, final episode, best episode of the series, fucking awesome. And by the end, even my whole family and my girl was like, whoa, all right.
Great
I'm on board. I'm ready for it. It's called Much More, and this is based on something more in Sword of Destiny book. Yennefer and the mages reinforce Sodden Hill. It's like a strategic location. We get this badass magical battle. What'd you guys think of the magical battle?
Where was all this cool magical shit earlier when Yennefer was getting like murdered by a cockroach?
The budget.
Oh, I know.
It is a great climax because we get, sort of Yennefer's rival Fingilla on the other side, who's this mage that probably was trained at the same time. Not probably was trained. And she went off to there and she bought into the Nilfgaardian shit where they can experiment with necromancy and all
fire
this,
magic.
And just all this shit that you're not supposed to do. And then she even tries to like tell Yennefer, you're being held back and all this bullshit. And so I'm like, how the fuck is this one mage going to fight 30 mages? She's
got her own mage force a little bit.
She does a little bit. Who I wouldn't want to be on her side because she's like, fire! And they do these fireballs and you're like, where did this fireball come from? And it's revealed, she's like, again! And this other mage was like, oh fuck, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
And like she comes decrepit and
they're martyrs, like they're religious zealots, right? So they're nuts, and so they think that if they give themselves the cause, good stuff happens.
Yeah, but luckily Yennefer is a fucking badass, and she they're basically testing the defenses, and this thing was so awesome. And the we get the fucking armies, and a battalion comes in, and witches will be like, and like crush everybody's necks. And I'm like, this is cool. I don't know if we've ever seen in a series before mage on soldier action in such a direct and interesting way. Now, there are budget constraints, so you're like, wait a minute, there's only 100 here, and then but I thought they did a well job.
There was some really cool, like poison mushroom things.
Triss finally gets something to do. Triss does her thing where she like does a bunch of toxins and
mushroom stuff. Yeah, and then there's shrapnel bombs, which are kind of cool. We get brain slugs.
I like the way they did the portals, and they're just firing into the portal.
Yeah,
that was fucking cool, man. From a strategic standpoint,
it's like, well, we can't get inside.
Fringilla was like, all right, well, you got walls and shit. Well, I'm gonna negate your walls. Okay, our archers fire down, and then you're over the walls looking, and all of a sudden you get shot from behind.
That's cool.
Well, Fringilla smashed the wall. Didn't mean anything. She smashed the wall from 1,000 yards away.
And nobody poured through.
Yeah, she's just like, break the wall. It's like, why did you need that? You portaled in already.
Surprisingly, nobody ever pours through the front gate too much. Yeah. Later on, there's like a few soldiers that come up.
Someone has to burn Triss because that's important to her character.
Right. Because Triss has been disfigured. But I thought that was the only stupid weak effect is when Triss puts these little vines just fucking had tiny little vines.
There was a mage that just went like this and then just killed everybody. Like, do something cool. Make more mushrooms. Mushrooms are cool.
Guy puts the fire through there. Triss gets hurt. She falls down, but she's still holding her position. The mages are holding their position. Now they're starting to die and
get
fucking
those worms.
We get the worms.
The worms are cool.
And you would think that the head mistress, would kick some fucking ass. She goes over to.
She tries to pocket sand.
She tries to go talk to, She tries to go talk to her to get her to back down, but she doesn't. She gets disabled. We get a cool little sword fight scene between, Vil, that mage master, against Kahir.
Well, this is super important, right?
But because he loses.
Well, and then the most important thing
is
the
magic thing that you were saying is inconsistent here because it's like all you're doing with your magic is you're just, conjuring a sword, and then when he bests you and you lose a sword, what do? You use your chaos to create another sword?
Yeah.
You fucking idiot!
Well, he was posturing because he wasn't trying to beat him because we learn later on that he's a bad guy.
Okay, yeah, but you gotta as a watcher and as somebody who doesn't know what happens next, you're like, why is he doing this?
Because he's being watched.
Okay.
Yennefer's watching him from 1,000 yards away. It's like, no, don't do any of this stuff.
I know. Mm-hmm. So anyways, it's revealed later on when he wakes up but it was such a shock, like it lost everybody who was watching it with me. It's like he smashes the face of one of the northern mages who was helping. And in fact, that mage was badass because he had a bunch of dead guys littered next to him, and he's like about to die. And he's like fucking smashes his face. They were like, what? And I was like, you ain't gonna know. It's season 2.
Yeah.
But basically, so you guys, since this is spoilers, he's actually working for the Emperor of Nilfgaard. Mm-hmm. Anyways, so it's just a fantastic episode. They're losing. They overrun the castle, and this is when Yennefer has her fucking badass moment. She channels this massive stream of fire magic, just fucking destroys everybody, but
protects
everyone else. Even her head mistress is so surprised by her power, and it was cool that she was being protected. But did you see that one mage that was like? I was like, did you protect that one too?
I hope
because
so.
I wanted
she
that
gets
one
stabbed
mage.
At the very end, though.
Or, you only see the back of her head, and so I was like, fuck. Anyways, but then she vanishes, so we don't know where Yennefer has gone. Mm-hmm. And Geralt escapes. During the same time, Geralt escapes Sintra, and he defends a man from the undead, but is wounded. He's bitten by it, and he sort of, passes out. This man takes him to a farm, and while he passes out, he dreams of his mother. So we get some of this, which, it's been so long I started to forget. I was like, wait a minute, who is this? And I realized, oh, shit, that's Geralt's mother. Mm-hmm. And we get some backstory for Geralt here in Season 1, which I didn't expect. I thought they were going to save that for later on, where, he's obviously, taken as a child and put through very crazy fucking trials.
That most kids die.
Kill.
Yeah.
They could kill. So he has a little bit of resentment there. But it's kind of like she helps him in this kind of dreamlike state or whatever. And he comes back to, and it's all about destiny because the place that this man takes him, he saves this guy. He didn't have to save the guy. He's like, get the fuck out of here. What are you doing? Why are you robbing corpses? He's like, if I'm robbing corpses, then I have a bunch of stuff on me. He's got a heart. He's trying to bury people. And he's like, fuck, I got to go help this guy. So he helps the guy. And it turns out the guy that he helps is his wife is helping Siri, brings Siri to the Destiny, brings that. It's like, oh, this is so cool. And everybody who was watching it with me loved it. And then
I was like, Siri, stay your ass in the house.
Right.
God damn it.
And then you were thinking, oh, shit, what is Geralt? Why is he walking off? No, go meet Siri. But no, she was walking off.
Well,
so
she was in the woods.
Right, she was in the woods. And then she comes and they embrace. And they were like, they haven't met. I was like, no, you weren't paying attention. They have met. That was the timelines fucked them up. And then she goes, her first words are, who's Yennefer? And it's like, but she didn't meet Yennefer. I'm like, no, because Geralt was screaming, Yennefer. And
they see each other's dreams or something like that, right?
Something like that. They're connected.
By
and
destiny.
she wants to know why, who's this Yennefer? I mean, he can't really tell her, right? Well, he can, but that's season 2 shit.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that's it. Let's go. I know it was just basically a breakdown of what happened. And I was just
with our
reading
thoughts,
it to you guys with our thoughts.
But there's some stuff to cover. How did you guys feel? This is something about the nudity in this show.
Yeah, we saw a lot of titties.
Was it necessary, or did you think they laid it
like? Do you think they were trying to do it because of Game of Thrones?
It almost felt like there's a 12-year-old kid behind the camera going
titties.
like, I don't. But there was a lot.
There was a lot of titties.
Some of it was unnecessary.
Orgy scene titties.
Yeah.
And then
you're gonna say there's unnecessary titties?
There was a lot.
When are titties unnecessary?
Man's got a point.
No,
but
I agree. I have said that before. Like it's like in there are certain games that just put titties in your face. And
yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, I think this show did really well with. It didn't need all of it.
It didn't need.
I think that
agree.
with how the subject is adult. Even the games were mature, and I think that it's honoring or mimicking those. And we saw titties in those. We see titties in this. Titties, big deal. Get over it, kind of thing. And so it doesn't bother me. Anyways.
It didn't feel like it was done in. It wasn't like nuance. It was just like, we're just gonna throw some in. We're not gonna sprinkle them. We're just gonna throw them at you. So it's the only reason I brought it up.
It's an orgy.
Yeah, but there was a lot of orgies for no reason.
She's having a sexual awakening. Nobody ever wanted to have sex with her. Now she is the most beautiful fucking woman with power. She's gonna have sex with whoever she wants. She want to see everybody having sex. Everybody else having sex.
It wasn't just her though. It was like you go to Strugabor's tower and everyone's naked for no reason.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's like,
one. It's like,
yeah, there's a lot of
that man is an old creepy man.
He created his
He is a
paradise.
fucking
the
weirdo.
person behind the camera that was deciding that all these people need to be naked were old.
Okay,
creepy men.
I will give you that.
That's
In
the one I
episode
was
1,
talking
we're like,
about.
yeah.
Like, you didn't need that, but
All right. Okay.
Who am I to judge?
I'm not saying it takes a point away. I was just like,
Yeah.
all right, look, I think we're old enough now where we're just like, we're not going to give it extra points. Just because
I was just realizing that season 1 of The Witcher, it's not Geralt's story. It is, but it's more the main character. I feel is Yennefer.
Yep.
And I'm just hoping that in season 2 it is Geralt focused
with Mark
And I
Hamill.
think what we're getting, yes, he is going to his mentor. And let me go to that part because I thought I had a quote from Mark Hamill.
It was just
he wants to be Vesemir. He's seen Vesemir. He was like, I don't know who this is. I don't care who it is.
Me.
It should be me.
Yeah.
It could be me. Will I? Please,
Yes.
please, Netflix and Laura, the showrunner, make Mark Hamill. I don't know if she's already casted somebody, but
they can be bumped.
You want an immediate
Mark.
up in viewers and an immediate fan loving you, do Mark Hamill in season 2. You would be guaranteed to get season 3 because people are going to watch season 2. The numbers are going to go up, and you can have season 3, even if Mark. Well, I don't want to say anything. All right, so just fantastic in my opinion. By the end, it really came into its own. I fucking love it. Yes, it has problems. Yes, there's things that I didn't like. Not enough Witcher. The 3 or 4 timelines converging. I would have preferred a more straightforward story, which is what we're going to get in season 2. It's hard to follow if you haven't played the game or read the books. Presented that way. Serious character development, not that much. Don't like Triss Marigold too much. The army looks so fucking stupid. The armor and the goddamn marching. When they march, they look so. It's like this is a television show. When they start marching, I was like, this sucks. But other than that, it was good for me. So. Let's go with our final verdicts, everybody. Who wants to start?
Okay. I think all the characters nailed it except for Trish. Still not sold on her.
Trish.
But, yeah, she had little to do in this season. But we'll see what happens.
Maybe now that she's disfigured, she'll have to pick a new form, and that's how they're going to do it for season 2. They're like, no, I got burned too bad.
Hold on. So
and I'm going to dye my hair.
You felt the characters nailed it.
Yes.
But do you think all the episodes, and then up and downs on the episodes?
They were up and down. Like I said, weakest one was the 4th one, the fairy tale one that you liked.
That I liked.
The music was great. I love the music. The scenery.
Mm-hmm.
Geralt was amazing.
Yeah. Henry. I mean, you got to get Henry right, or you got to get the White Wolf right.
Yeah.
And they got it right.
It's a hit and miss, and this was a hit. I'm going to give this an 8 because the timeline, too, was kind of confusing. And I was watching, like I said, I was watching with my roommate. And he's like, well, what happened? It's like, well, did I miss something?
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of hard to keep track of if you haven't watched or played the games.
Right.
And Trish. Those are my 2 negative points.
Trish.
Yeah.
Marigold. And Alex?
I think I agree. I think this is something that I loved, and I think this has good bones. It reminds me of some of like other TV shows that I like that they don't really know where they're going in the first season. They're kind of trying some things out, but you can tell that there's promise.
Let us not forget, man who loves Star Trek as much as I do.
TNG
had a horrible first season.
Yeah, there's good parts in the first season that you have to watch, and this actually felt like way better than the first season of TNG. But you recognize that there are good things going here, and I think that the sloppiness and the weird storytelling, like the back and forth, I think that kind of just fades away because we'll do flashbacks from time to time in the next season, I think, but we don't have to go like 3 different storylines and hoping they converge in a place that makes sense. So I think that this is also an 8. Now there's some bias there. One, I
expected a 7.
I love that's where I'm saying like this. Honestly, if I didn't love the Witcher games, if you
didn't have all the extra context,
extra context, I think I probably would have given this a 7, but I did, and I'm letting the bias take me to an 8.
I'm also letting the bias take me to a final score of 8 out of 10. I am super biased, and I wanted to give it more. And that just shows you my fucking bias. I wanted to love this at the level of Mandalorian. I wanted to love it at a 9. I wanted to love it at a 10. The critic in me would probably give it a 7, but the fan in me overpowers that and says it's an 8 out of 10. Some of my family members, my cousins, are like, I can't. They told me, Joe, tell them it's a 6 out of 10. And I'm like, no, it's not. You just didn't say you weren't paying attention. I saw you stuff in your face and you weren't paying attention.
You're on Instagram.
I was pissed.
Off your phone.
I was
pissed.
Yeah.
I was like, pay attention. And so if you pay attention, then you're going to enjoy it. And you get an 8 out of 10 on the first season. There's way room for improvement.
Yeah.
You can only go up from here, and
hopefully
I could tell that everybody involved, including the showrunner, where she was getting a lot of shit on Twitter, including from me. We forgot the bathtub scene, where she was doing, but it's Geralt. It's this for the women and for Joe to fawn over his pecs,
his chesticles.
and his chesticles. But anyways. So I think there's room for improvement, and you can tell the people involved care. Mm-hmm. They love the lore, they love the books, they love the games, even though it's not for the games. They don't have the right for the games. They have the right for the books. And I think that with these people involved, it's going to go up from here. Mm-hmm. It would surprise me if it got worse, right? So
it just depends on what story, like how they want to progress the story. Mm-hmm. I mean, the source material is really important.
I totally see somebody giving it a 7 if they're not a mega fan of The Witcher like I am. But I think we end up at an 8 out of 10 for season 1. Some of the episodes can hit 8. Some of them hit 9. Some of them hit 7 and 6. and it just sort of averages out to an 8 out of 10 for us. That's it. Where do you guys think that season 2 is going to be?
I think
Since y'all didn't read the books, you don't really know.
I mean, I know where they're going. I know what the destination is just through like the games and how they adapted the later stuff. So I just hope that we do see more of Geralt going up through Witcher training.
Yeah,
so young Geralt
training with Ciri.
and I do want to see
Training with Ciri.
I want to see the three of them like eventually kind of get together and form their little like half-ass
We need to do
family.
stuff more as a group,
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
family. That's going to be fucking awesome. Ciri training as a Witcher. In the video games, that scene where Ciri's just jumping on all the different little logs and she's doing her badass stuff is so cool. I'm like, there's no way the show can do it as cool as this.
Yeah.
That's a challenge to you. And then sort of, should I say it? The Emperor. But that's not until a long time later. The Wild Hunt, that's not until a long time later, at least in the books. I don't want them to blow their load in season 2.
The Emperor is important now, though, because the Emperor is the
That's
one
true.
pulling the current strings. That's why we see.
We will probably get more
Yeah.
as the Emperor.
Yeah.
And then Mark Hamill as Vesemir, please.
Yeah.
Okay?
Amazing.
Don't
There you
piss us
go.
off, or the person that you pick. No, I'm not even going to allow you that. Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill. Done.
Vesemir. And you got yourself a whole extra point. I'll give you 1 whole point if you do Mark Hamill.
Amazing.
There's been some good
bribery
TV this year. I mean, we've got some really good stuff. I still think that The Boys probably edges out this as far as like TV for me this year, though.
Really good TV. Mandalorian, The Boys,
And
The
this.
I'm starting
Witcher.
watching The Watchmen. I'm on
Watchmen.
episode 4.
Watchmen is
Pretty
very
good.
intriguing.
People are upping their game. Like with all these new streaming services, everyone's trying to
Yeah.
Right.
get everybody.
While at the same time, movies are fucking it up. Movies haven't been all that great this year.
Yeah, we'll
The
see.
Star Wars disaster, Rise of the Skywalker. This is much better than that. Game of Thrones fucked it up, so you gotta even out the fucking upness.
I forgot that was this year.
Yeah, that's how fucking fucked up that.
try
Like
to
you
forget.
do not give a shit about Game of Thrones anymore.
I want to watch.
I'd
the old
rather
season.
watch Witcher season 1 over again than go and watch Game of Thrones season 8. Fuck that.
Yes.
So, anyways, guys, we're excited for Witcher
yeah.
season 2. You can count on us to be here reviewing that one, but gonna be a long time. So we'll see you then. Until then, guys, I'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys. Don't
guys.
throw coins at your Witcher. Don't throw coins. Okay, bye.
Bye.